Hello, everybody, and welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. And once again, we have another show with. Look, I'm not going to go into what the person does. I'm going to want him to explain a little bit of his background, what he does. So, hello, Alain. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well this morning, Albert. Thanks for having me on the show.
No, I'm happy that you got on the show. I've been bugging you now for a long time to get you on the show because I know that you're a specialist in your field, and you're well respected. So I've been wanting to get you on here, and you did, and I'd like to thank you for that. So, Alain, I for the viewers, so because I know who you are, and I know what you're about, but I would like for the viewers to know who you are and about, because I like to be able to do other podcasts with you in the future. And I think that we need to delve and dive into your background a little bit. Can you talk to me or us about yourself a bit, please?
Yeah, well, I'm a venture capitalist. I've been in the industry. I was a financial planner for about 5 years, and then I became a stockbroker in early 2000, and then in the 2007, 2008, I was more in the helping junior company, micro cap companies to get known or to get funding from them when I was a broker. And then there was a couple of stories I really liked, and the uranium space, and then there was the gold space and everything. And I before that started my own company. I did corporate financing with a group in Toronto, and that's after they closed down between in the 2008 2009
Oh, the
the
crash.
bank, the crash of the 2008 2009. I decided to go on my own way because I knew I could help companies, and throughout Canada, I had a name that I had developed throughout BC, Calgary, Toronto, Montreal, and Atlantic provinces. So I said, listen, I want to do my stuff on my own, so it's easier. You don't have a boss on top of your head. You're your own boss, and hopefully you could help the companies as much as you can. And that's where my background came from. And why Bid Capital is that before I worked with the guys in Toronto, I was working with a company called Stratico and Catascore that one went from 20 cents to $4. And then after that, Stratico, there was the government. They're still in process to get back their money, because when everything happened, the uranium space, they couldn't get the permits to go and mine the mine they had in. And then I had a deal with the gold deal also called Catascore that went really well, got taken over. And when I was working, I used to call guys in Toronto because a lot of bankers were there, investment bankers or funds, and I used to call them and say, if you like the story, get on the bid. So so the guys used to say, okay, yeah. So then they used to look at their screen, and then they used to see all kinds of bids coming in, and then they go, oh my God, this guy's the bid. So every time I used to go to Toronto, they used to call me, hey, the bid's in town. So that's where I found it funny, because it's like everything else, art, anything that you look at, and the stock market, if you like something, well, you got to get on the bid to buy some. So that's where my name came from, and it came from the guys in Toronto I used to work with, that I started working with them a year later because they wanted to open up an office in Montreal. And when they did, well, they wanted me to work with them. So they opened up an office in March 2008, and that was the crash started in that summer, and it lasted. So they closed shop in April 1st, to tell you the truth, 2009. And when I came home that night, my wife goes, what are you going to do? I go, I'm going to start my own company. So she started laughing at me.
Yeah,
April,
yeah. April Fools.
yeah, April Fools.
April
Then
1st.
April 1st, April 1st, 2009. April 2nd, 2009, the day after, I was going to a hockey game with a guy at a national bank, and a director there. And my phone kept on ringing. There was a company calling me, a president of a company. A company was called Catascore that I'd helped out for the last 3 years, and I was working with them, and like I was with somebody, I didn't have time. So then I decided to take his match, and he goes, "You got to call me. It's very important. You got to call me." So I give him a call, and he goes, "We got taken out tonight." I go, "What?" I didn't see the news. So I went and see the news, and the takeout price was like, with the shares I had, it was like winning a little lottery ticket. So I came home that night after the hockey game. My wife was reading in her bed, and I go, "I won the lottery tonight." And she goes, "Yesterday you're starting your company. Tonight
Winning
you're
lotteries.
yeah, you won the lottery." So I go, "Yeah, look at the news." And she looks. I show her the phone. She looks at the news. She goes, "How many shares you had of that?" And she goes, "Oh, you did win the lottery in a sense."
Yeah,
And anyways,
absolutely.
company, yeah, so company got taken out because it took 3 months, and that's how I launched my bid capital, because then I had capital, and starting to look at other ventures, and a lot of my name was getting known because I was talking to everybody about that stock, and I was telling them the truth. There was great management, great people, great company, and that's how you build a relationship and the name. So that helped very much in
I
uh, in
uh,
2009, actually.
Yeah, and so we got bid capital, and
Yeah,
it says and fine wines. So bid capital. So you're in your specialty, and you're still very active when it comes to the capital markets and the
yeah,
ventures.
yeah, yeah.
And so what how why the fine wines next to the bid capital?
Like in
How
that
does that
industry.
mix? How do we pour
Yeah,
that?
mixed.
How do
Yeah,
we
it's a
pour that
very
in? How
good
do we mix that
question.
in?
It's a very good question. I've been wine. I used to start. My brother started introducing me to wine in the early '90s, and I was getting early '90s. You're getting in your 20s, and I started enjoying wine. Took courses, and I always liked wines. And when I was working, like when you work in the financial industry, whatever, everybody likes wine. Get around the table, talk about companies, strategies, and everything. And with a nice glass of wine in your hands, it's always fun. So,
Yes.
I was always, enjoying it. And then in 2000, with the pandemic came, I said to myself, why don't I go get my wine importer license so I could get some wine from Tuscany, and that's how it started. And so now, let's say I do a meeting, I try to get my wines known, and so it's just how do you say it, something that matches well with the financial industry. And and what I like about wines is, like, if you buy me some wines, you don't like it, well, you won't call me back, right? As if a stock, I tell you that you buy it and it starts going down, you're gonna call me every day, right? So it's a different thing. And if you call me back with wines because you liked it and you want more, so
That's hilarious. It's so true. It's true that you can look at it in that sense. So for the wines, so you do importing. So you're still doing importing because naturally you have big capital and fine wines. So you
yeah,
import, and if people wanted, something that you're importing, they can come to you and actually and purchase that.
yeah. It's like they got to purchase us with the SAQ. Monopoly. They buy it either by six, or by the case are 6 or 12, depending how they come in. But
Oh yeah. Do
yeah,
you have a
so
do you have a number or a website where people can actually order from?
right now we didn't. I still didn't start my website because it's just I'm doing it as pleasure and fun. So yeah, but they could call me at any time at 514-947-5784. It's the same number for my wines, or for my, if we talk about stocks on another time, if they want to know more about it, they could reach me always at that number.
So for bid capital, it's the same number, and the fine wines, if anyone wanted to get some of the imports, it would be at
Yeah,
that same number. So I'll have that number shoot up on the screen so that people can see that. And
perfect.
when it comes to your area of expertise, are we talking about? I mean, naturally, I mean, in order to know the venture and Canadian Stock Exchange, the CSE, um, or the .to or the Nasdaqs or whatever whatever you're looking at. I mean, naturally, you have to be a connoisseur of the general market. But what is it exactly? Because you were talking about ventures and finding little gems in the rough,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then we take all the dirt off of them and stuff and clean it up, and the next thing you know, maybe it's a diamond under there and not
yeah,
coal.
yeah. Well, look, I started a lot helping junior companies in the resource sector, and then I've trickled down to doing technology or any other oil and gas technology, and resource, whatever sector. But yes, you're trying to find a gem. In the resource sector, I have a friend of mine that you've interviewed previously, John Kaiser, which is a very, very intelligent man.
Oh
He
yes.
knows his stuff inside out, and he bounces ideas off me, and I tell him, yes, that could be a good idea, or no, I don't like the capital structure, I don't like the guys behind it, the management, so and or the project, it's going to be a hard sell. So last time you had a very good interview with him. Hopefully, he comes back on for the lithium space because talked about. I think he was talking about BRW Brunswick that had a good run. I think right now Brunswick is under pressure because there's warrants coming out, and there's PMET Frontier. He talked about that Patriot batteries. So that's a good sector. A lot of people are looking at a sector. I think also the copper sector could be interesting because if you're doing those batteries, a lot of batteries are done with copper. So, I try to get a gem through and talk to people that I know that I respect a lot. And I know a lot of bankers in Toronto. Like I try to run the story to them also to see what they think. So, to get a general idea if there's something to be done. And then I try to just get in contact with the company and do a cold call, try to know the management, see what's going on, and see what I could, if there's something I could do to help them known throughout Canada. So that's the way I work actually.
Yeah, and on that topic of networking, so that's networking in itself, and I've seen you do that in real time at the PDAC. I mean, I've seen you like just everybody, like, I can't say everybody, but hell, I mean, people were like, Alain. I mean, I couldn't, you know, get to talk to you for 2 seconds. And if I was pretty much chasing you. But I know that you go jogging very often. And I've just been putting on weight very often recently. And I was having
Yeah,
a hard time keeping up with you. Like
yeah, you're right.
everybody was Alain. You know so many people. And that's why I wanted you on the show, because the amount of people, I was fascinated. You're talking to people that are in the whether it's in the okay, news coverage industry, people that are, I guess, journalism, people that are CEOs of many different companies, analysts, uh miners, engineers. It doesn't matter who the person is. I mean, you are not discriminated. They're coming from all around the world, and you're talking to everyone. And I'm just like, holy moly, this guy, it would be a very powerful ally in anyone's team. And honestly, I'm really happy that you've decided to do interviews with Between Plays, because it just adds so much more respect to the show. That is for sure. And especially John Kaiser as well. And so how did you go, how do you guys know each other? Is it a long, is it short lived, or is it a long relationship?
John Kaiser, I think we met in through a friend, a good partner of mine, which is Louis Moraine, that has leading Opus One
Oh,
Resources.
wait a minute. I did an interview with Louis
Yeah, yeah,
for Opus
yeah,
One. Okay, okay,
yeah.
yeah.
And John Kaiser, well, he knew him, and he was an analyst before, and got to know him. And I'm different from Louis. We're all different, right, in this world. So he liked the way I was looking at stuff and everything, which it was a different way of looking at things. And he knew I had contacts in Toronto, and we had a few situations that I brought him to that helped him out on that side too, and we started building a relationship. It's a very good a friendship that has built over at least right now it's at least 12 years, 12, 13 years.
Wow. Okay.
And it's like we are truthful to each other. We tell us the truth. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And sometimes we disagree with the stuff because I see one side, he sees another, but I think that's how you build relationships,
Yeah.
being honest to each other.
Yes.
And I really respect that guy because he does a lot of research. He's a machine. He's like very intellectual, very
Oh yeah.
intelligent, and being around him makes me look even brighter. So that's how you
Yes,
know
John. John definitely is a force of nature because as you were pertaining to, yes, he will be on the show again. We've discussed, and he's actually he'll be on the show many times. We're talking about doing episodes with an
Okay,
S with each other.
that's great. That's
Yeah,
great because
and
he brings a lot. He brings a lot to your viewers and to companies that he analyzes them, and these companies, that should come on your show after this guy talks about them because that's a follow-up to them. So I find it very intriguing. And when he spoke, as I listened to it a few times, because you hear it once, you say, oh my God, this guy is putting so much stuff out there. But I think viewers, investors, and companies that he follows should just come on the show, especially the company, so they put out their word on what they see on the company, and it gives them a massive exposure. So that's great that you have him on the show. And if I see that you're getting more people involved in different industry. You have the show on the crypto side. You have
oh,
Alex crypto. You have Sam Deep, and
I would
all
think.
this makes you look like it shows that you have more and more content, which is very good for, like I said again, viewers, if it's investors because it's companies, or CEOs that want to get known
Well,
in
thank you.
this industry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so then we can gauge, our viewers can gauge that you'll be back on the show, and we'll be able to talk about probably specific companies, or in generality about certain things in the space of lithium or whatever it may be.
Yeah, well, I'd like to do other shows, of course. I'll give you my point of view from a venture capitalist looking at outside in. And I'm not the expert in, like you say, lithium or whatever, but I could give you the view as an investor, what I look at and which companies I look at, why I look at them, and what I see as a potential for them. So
All right.
yes, I'd love to do another show and maybe get into a couple of companies, and I'm ready to do a show again.
All right. Well, great. Thank you so much, Alain, for coming here, and we'll definitely see you on the next one, and we'll work out specific companies to look at. I have so many. My followers have so many companies that people want to know more about. So especially in the venture area. So we'll definitely do that. Alain, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you,
And
Albert, for having me on. It was a pleasure.
all right, thank you. And for all the viewers out there, always remember: research, prepare, plan, execute. Stay strong. On to the next show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. Hit the like and the subscribe button. Head off into our description below if you'd like to know where all of our social media links are, and also the podcast, whether it be Apple or Spotify. We will be doing interviews with CEOs, with analysts, and it's not only on the stock market itself, but also on cryptocurrencies and blockchains. We will have guest speakers. We will be doing panels. You will be able to enjoy a lot of different content. Have a great day, and always remember: research, prepare, plan, execute. Stay strong.